What's going on, guys? Briar Rabbit here. Today, we're going to be reviewing the Qanba Drone 2 fight stick. This is one of 3 new fight sticks that Qanba has released that are PS5 compatible. The Titan, and the Obsidian 2. If you'd like to see those other fight sticks reviewed, they'll be on this channel shortly, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. But today, we're really focused on this guy. This is the follow-up to the Qanba Drone, which was a very popular, I don't want to say low-end fight stick, but a more affordable option compared to some of the $200 to $400 fight sticks that were available. The original Qanba Drone retailed for about $80, and this one, honestly, is almost twice as expensive. If you get it off of Qanba's website, the Qanba USA site, it's going to cost you about $125 plus shipping. If you get it from Amazon, it's more like $145. Once you put tax on that, I mean, it really is almost twice as expensive as the original drone. But it is a very similar fight stick to the original drone. So we're going to put it down on the table and take a look at this thing and really review, is this thing worth the price they're charging for it? Let's start off by just taking a look around the fight stick here. The fight stick features an all-plastic construction. The top here is this kind of matte plastic material. It's got a nice texture to it. It doesn't really absorb fingerprints too much. It does seem to suck up scratches without being able to notice it too much. It's not like something like a piano black where it really shows everything. It's a nice texture. It's comfortable to the hand. It's quite nice. The joystick itself is a Qanba-made OV7 Omron switch joystick. It feels very similar to a Sanwa JLF joystick, probably by design. It may be slightly looser and maybe has a slightly longer throw. It's really hard to tell. It does feel good. It did not seem to hamper any special moves that I was trying to do in Street Fighter V or other games that I was playing, so I have no real problem with the joystick. It feels very similar to a JLF. The buttons are also Qanba made. These are the Qanba B30 buttons. Again, they feel very similar to Sanwa OBSF buttons, and they look quite like them too. I might go as far, if I was to keep this joystick in daily rotation, I might replace the joystick, but I'd probably just leave the buttons as are, unless the sound of the buttons was bothering me. The joystick is quite loud, and these buttons are somewhat to blame, but also the construction of the joystick. It's all plastic design. There is no metal plate under this top panel, and there is no plexi over it. So just the whole joystick is quite loud. If I were to replace the buttons, I'd probably go with something like the Qanba Gravity buttons, or even a Sanwa Silent button that would just kind of quiet down the joystick a little bit. My wife doesn't normally have a problem when I'm playing with a fight stick in the living room when she's in there trying to read, but she definitely noticed this one. It is quite loud. Moving up top, we have the PlayStation Options button. We have the PlayStation button, L3 Turbo, the share button, a mute switch for the headset jack, and the R3 button. There's a switch up here to switch between PS5, PS4, and PC modes, and down here to switch between the D-pad, the left stick, and the right stick. And then over here, in kind of an interesting design decision, there's this big touchpad that is very close to the action buttons. If you're playing a game, for me, it was Breakers. I think it was the Breakers Collection for the PS5. It is possible to hit this when you're just trying to hit your buttons up here. It is very close. So there is no tournament lockout switch, so you can't really just turn that off, and that could be a problem. So I wouldn't really say this is a tournament-ready fight stick by any means. But I only did hit it the one time, so I would imagine that once you get used to the joystick, it's not going to be an issue. I found the joystick pretty comfortable for my hands. There's plenty of space up here. It's got kind of this beveled edge to lay your wrists on, and there's plenty of room off to the side. I did notice that if I was resting my hands on it when I push down, the joystick tends to lift up just a hair with the weight of my hands and pulling down on the joystick. And that was probably because the pads, like the only contact with the actual table is right here. So yeah, all your weight, any weight that's past here is going to kind of want to tip this thing. So it was a little tippy. If we look at the top of it, we see a headset jack that is new for the Drone 2 that was not on the Drone 1, maybe accounting for some of the increased price. If we look over on the side here, we see the cable is not removable, unfortunately. Let's see if the camera will focus. There is a pretty decent strain relief here, and there's a cable storage compartment. I'm a little torn on this. I really think it's convenient to be able to just like wrap up your cable and stick it in here. It makes it very easy to travel with or to store it without having to like wrap the cable around the stick or, you know, have like some kind of trap door on the side, which always seems to break. However, because this is not a removable cable and because this is a pretty small compartment, you do have to like kind of wrap this thing up pretty tight. I do not have high hopes for the longevity of this cable. On a fight stick that's this costly, I would figure, you know, breaking this cable and having a basically useless fight stick. I'm sure you can splice in another cable, but, you know, unless you know how to solder or do that kind of stuff, that's going to be challenging for you. So I would like, on a fight stick this expensive, I would really like to see this just be like a USB-C port, and you'd be able to just use any USB cable that you wanted to use. On the bottom here, there are 6 screws to take the joystick apart, as well as this convenient access door here. You just pull this little guy off, and you can get to the bottom of the joystick to make ball top or bat top replacement easy. You also have to remove the ball top to disassemble the joystick because the joystick itself is mounted to the bottom of the fight stick, so you cannot remove the top without taking the ball top off. Let's put that guy back on so I don't lose it. You'll also notice there are 4 kind of rubber pads on the corners. These are a little small. It'd be nice if they were a little bit bigger. When I'm using this joystick, I do find that it moves around a little bit. Just kind of, you know, when you're doing moves, it'll just kind of like rotate this way or start moving one way or another. On the lap, it wasn't that big an issue because it's kind of got these beveled edges here. It just kind of sat in my lap fine. And it was pretty comfortable for lap play, but on a table, it did seem to move around quite a bit. If I was going to keep this for long-term play, I'd probably look into getting something that was a little more robust to hold this thing down to a table. The joystick is very light overall because of the construction of this thing. It is an all plastic case. There is no metal, like there are no metal plates trying to keep this thing to be heavier. It does make it very convenient to bring to a friend's house or to bring to a local. However, because there's no tournament lockout switch, I definitely wouldn't start bringing this thing to tournaments or anything. There are a few things that I'd like to change on the Qanba if they were to do another version of it. And the first one is the fact that it is so loud. I did replace the buttons to try out, just to make sure I could, you know, by replacing buttons, I could quiet it down a little bit. And that definitely worked. It's just the fact that, you know, these buttons, a normal Sanwa button, anything that, you know, makes a little bit of racket on its own just seems to get amplified by this case design. But I did try a Qanba Gravity. I did try a Sanwa silent button, and they quieted down the joystick quite a bit. So if I was going to keep this for regular play, I would definitely put in a quieter button just to calm the sound down a little bit. Stock Qanba. Sanwa. Sanwa silent. Qanba Gravity KS. I already mentioned the touchpad being a little bit close to the buttons. I would have loved to see them just move this to this side. I don't really understand why. There's not as much room over here as there is over here. So if they just put the touchpad on this side and these buttons over here, the whole thing would just kind of, I don't know, just make a little more sense. But really, the thing about this controller is the price. The Qanba Drone 1 was $80. And I thought it was a good deal. I think it was the best controller under $100 in kind of the PS4 generation. But this, at $140, you're starting to get really close to a much higher grade joystick. Something with a metal construction, something with a plexiglass top that you can change the art in, something that has, you know, Sanwa buttons and joysticks already included with it instead of the Qanba stuff. just a better layout, a more sturdy joystick, just a higher grade arcade stick in general. In fact, if you shop around a little bit, I've seen the Qanba Obsidian 1 on sale for as low as $160 or $170. And yeah, that's more than $140, but I think that price difference is worth it considering you get higher grade components, you get a higher grade joystick build in general. It's really hard to justify the price jump. Now, I know that, after the pandemic, there's been all sorts of, price increases on everything, especially electronics. They have upgraded this. They added the touchpad. They added the headset jack. But man, it is a big price jump. And I don't know if this is going to remain the least expensive PS5 compatible arcade stick. If it is, that's going to be rough for people who just want to check out an arcade stick to play Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8 or Mortal Kombat 12. That's a big price jump. I don't know if Qanba just knows that, we're the first ones to get like a more affordable one out there. We'll lower the price when more affordable sticks kind of start hitting the market. We're just going to take advantage of being the first out. I don't really know, but man, this is awfully expensive, I think, for what it offers. It feels like an inexpensive joystick, but it doesn't have the price to match. So who's it for? It's for somebody who absolutely needs a PS5 compatible joystick right now and wants to pay the least amount of money they can for it. I will be reviewing the Qanba Titan and the Qanba Obsidian 2. Those are both kind of higher end joysticks than the Drone 2 very soon. They're both kind of in the mail on the way. So subscribe to the channel and look forward to those reviews. But right now, I'm definitely looking forward to the Titan, which has, it's just a bigger, more robust controller. It has Sanwa parts in it. It just seems like a better deal, even though it's like $80 more money. It's more the price of the original Obsidian at $220. So, we'll have to see. We're going to have to see how this shakes out. Hori's also out in the market with their Alpha Stick, which I thought was great at $200. I had my problems with it. Again, it didn't have a removable cable, but it definitely feels like a pretty good value now that we're starting to see kind of where this market is settling. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.